Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This is me, Atiq Ahmad. Today we are going to start the new chapter, chapter number 5, cell cycle. Today we will study the first topic of this chapter number 5, that is introduction to cell cycle. Introduction. The most basic characteristic of life is reproduction. Reproduction is the process through which copies are made. Whenever a cell divides, so it produces new cells, and those new cells are the copies of the parent cell. Similarly, the individuals, the living organisms, they also produce their own copies. So reproduction is basically the basic characteristic of life. Cells produce new cells and individuals produce offsprings like themselves. Whenever the cell divides, so they produce new cells, and this process through which they produce new cell, that is reproduction. Similarly, the individuals of various living organisms, they produce offsprings like themselves. They produce offsprings which are similar to their parents. Now, a key point of cell theory is all cells arise from the free existing cells by cell division. Just recall the cell theory. We have studied that in the previous chapter. The cell theory consists of three basic points. The first point is that all living organisms are made of cells. The second point is that cell is the structural and functional unit of all living organisms. And the third point is that all cells basically arise from the pre-existing cells through the process of cell division. So all cells arise from the pre-existing cells by cell division. Cell division is an important character of cells. All cells have this basic character to divide and to produce new cells. All cells divide to produce new ones. Continuation of life is based on cell division. Now, the continuation of life of all living organisms, whether they are unicellular or multicellular, whether they are animals or plants or microbes or fungi, that is basically based on cell division. Through the process of cell division, the sex cells, the sperms and eggs are produced, and then through the process of fertilization, the embryo is produced, and that embryo then develops into a new individual. Similarly, the cells divide to produce new cells. So all the life processes, whether that is growth, reproduction, healing or repairing of the damaged tissues, that is based on cell division. So the continuation of life is based on cell division. Now the teaching points. In the living organisms, many processes like growth, reproduction, repairing and healing are dependent on cell division. Now in all living organisms, including the humans, the processes like growth, it is dependent on cell division, because whenever the cell divide, so they produce new cells, and as a result the body grows. Similarly, reproduction, that is also dependent on cell division, because through the process of cell division, through the process of meiosis, the sex cells, the sperms and eggs are produced, and those sperms and eggs then combine together, and the process of fertilization takes place, and then embryo is formed, and then that embryo develops into a new organism, into a new individual. So the reproduction process is also based on cell division. Similarly, repairing of the damaged tissues, Now, suppose we take the example of humans. So, the damaged areas of our body, suppose it is skin, if suppose there is a cut in our skin, if similarly there is any internal organ which is damaged, so that is repaired through the process of cell division, and that is the process of mitosis, through which our skin cuts are repaired. Similarly, internal damaged organs are repaired, and healing process are also dependent on cell division. Similarly, the healing process of various injuries, that is dependent on the process of cell division. Now, what is basically the cell cycle? The cell cycle, it is a series of events that take place in a eukaryotic cell, leading to its replication, division, that is called the cell cycle. Cell cycle is basically the series of events. There are several events which we are going to study later on in this chapter. So it is a series of events. Various events are there that take place in the eukaryotic cells, which ultimately lead to its replication, division. So the series of events which takes place in the eukaryotic cells, and which ultimately divide one cell into 2 or 4 cells. In case of mitosis, 2 cells are produced. In case of meiosis, 4 cells are produced. So this is cell cycle. Now, cell cycle consists of 2 major phases or stages: the interphase or resting stage. We will study this in detail in the next lecture. Interphase or resting stage, it is basically preparatory phase. In this phase, the cell prepare itself for division, and the second is the division phase, which may be mitosis or meiosis. There are two types of division. So in this process, division phase, the actual division takes place. So the cell cycle is the whole process in which interphase or resting stage is one major stage in which preparation for the cell division take place. And then the actual division phase, that is the second stage or phase in which the actual division take place, and the cell divides into 2 or 4 cells. In case of mitosis, 2 cells are produced. In case of meiosis, 4 cells are produced. So this is all about today's lecture. Inshallah, see you next time with a new lecture. Take care. Allah Hafiz.